Listen to the Harry George and the Usual Suspect show right here on bestbikerradio.com. Don't forget, man, if your bar, your band, or your business is big time into the motorcycle world, matter of fact, you just heard one of our good friends from over at Bike Town. He was just our early show guest. You know, they do all kinds of stuff down there. But if you want people to know where you're at, you get yourself on over to bestbikerbars.com. You register your band, you register your bar, you register your business down there. They got 300,000 people strolling through that place on a regular basis, and they're looking for you, man. So get yourself over there and get yourself signed up. Now I got to tell you about this. I ran into these guys. They hooked up with Kelly back at the end of last year, you know, right in the November Christmas time type thing. And we had to do this interview, only we had to do it using Skype. Now, I don't mind Skype because if you're just talking, because it's like, you know, it's not, you know, even if it's like right across the street, it's kind of fucked up anyway. But long distance, like all the way to Scotland, with four guys that are two things, Scottish and drunk, which apparently is not a contradiction in terms, you know. But you gotta like a Scottish guy sitting there drinking, you know, Jim Beam. It's all right. I'm good with that. All right, you know. But anyway, so we had this interview. It's amazingly cool. These guys are really great. We're gonna play some of their music as well. You want to listen a little bit close? I took a lot of heavy editing to get this. It was done right before Christmas time. These guys are fantastic, and if you've never heard them, never been anywhere, go look up their music because it kicks ass. In the meantime, here we have the interview pre-recorded with the Deadbeat Ragdolls. You're going to love them. This is bestbikerradio.com. You're listening to the Harry George and the Usual Suspect show. Let me tell you, brothers and sisters, I have got myself a serious long-distance hookup this time. Really seriously, that, man, we have crossed an ocean. We got our special guest with us tonight, the Deadbeat Ragdolls from, of all places, Scotland. Gentlemen, what's up?
Yeah,
now, you guys gotta, you know, all my listeners, seriously, you gotta understand, we're talking on Skype, which in and of itself is a wonderful program that I don't know why anybody invented, other than so nobody had to pay the phone company, is what I'm figuring. So tell me, guys, tell me a little bit about your band, man. Like, you know, I see here from your bio, you started out just a couple of years ago, just getting your legs wet and everything like that. What was the impetus? Why'd you get started?
We've actually been going for less time than that. Like, I'd say all in all, just under a year we've been going total. Yeah. Because I was in a band previously, and the singer was a bit of a dick.
You run into that a lot in bands, man.
Yeah, he basically got us barred from a bunch of venues, and then the band broke up because he went to jail. I mean, how fucking rock and roll was that?
All right, well, let's get real. What's his name just got busted for trying to hire a killer, so, I mean, come on.
That's true. Yeah. So that band broke up, but just before the band broke up, I met Tony at, one of our gigs, and we got talking, and we talked about putting, a side project together, but then when the other band broke up, we decided to do that kind of full time, so that was kind of December last year, something like that. So it was almost a year ago, and then we just kind of piece by piece we started to add people to the band. There was a guy called Mick in the band for a little while on guitar, but we replaced him with this guy here. And then we found this crazy guy to play drums for us.
And you know, bro, I gotta tell you straight up, people, one of the things that's interesting about Skype is, you get to see the people you're talking to. Fortunately, they don't get to see me because I ain't figured out how to get this fucking camera to work right. So, they're over there going, this, so these guys are sitting. Yeah, there you go. See, this way, these guys are sitting there. Try that again?
I said you were fiddling with your little thing.
Yeah, I love that.
There's your kind of machinery, but we don't know.
Okay. Oh my God. Anyway, so these guys are sitting in their living room. They got their alcohol and everything, and I'm like, okay, I need to crack open a bottle of my moonshine to join these fellas, but this thing will go downhill so fast it won't even be fucking funny. I'm going to tell you straight up. So you guys, I'm sitting here reading some stuff. Why the glam? type situation? I mean, what drew you to that type of musical persuasion?
Tony?
Oh, he did. I see. Tony's responsible.
I'm the reason for it, basically. I'm the one that gets the big hair and the makeup usually, so,
So, I mean...
I've been a transvestite.
John, the transvestite.
To be uncomfortable, so...
That's great, man.
Me and Andrew are basically really big fans of like Hanoi Rocks and obviously Michael Monroe, New York Dolls, things like that. So that really inspired the look and things like that.
So did you pick up?
Basically, the whole reason like I kind of got talking to him was because like he basically looked like a fearless Nikki Sixx.
Okay, there you go.
Which he fucking hates.
I like having the women and the sex. I can't stand playing the guitar. I understand that.
Pretty much.
Yeah, well, there's an attraction to everything. I've been riding motorcycle for a little over 40 years. It ain't just because I like two wheels, man. Honest to God. You put a girl on the back of a Harley Davidson and shakes, you got a wet seat. Life is good. So...
We've just always been into this kind of music, so, and I mean, the other thing as well is, I mean, you go and see so many gigs, and there's so many bands that they just look like guys that just off the street. They're just wearing like a jumper and jeans and like a cardigan or something, and I mean, exactly. Like, who the fuck wears a cardigan?
Exactly. What is that about?
I mean, when I was a kid and like I was going to like gigs and stuff like that, I always loved to go see shit like Alice Cooper and like Hanoi Rocks. Like when you went to a gig, you weren't just going for the music; you were going for a show. And I mean that's just something that that we want to do as well. Like when you come to see like one of our gigs, it's entertainment as well as the music,
Yeah, it makes perfect sense to me, man, because every band has a flavor to them, a sound, stuff like that they've got influences. Now, I noticed you're talking about the New York City Dolls and everything like that. Nothing off the English glam movement attracted you at all, or you just was, you kind of like the American sound of it better?
I mean, we like some stuff. Like, obviously, Bowie, T-Rex, things like that. Yeah, like Mark Bowen and stuff. I mean, we do like that stuff, but we're probably more influenced by like the American glam stuff than what I suppose like Hanoi Rocks or Finnish.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'd say we're probably more influenced by the American bands.
All right, cool. Well, I'll tell you what, let's let the people around listen to some of your stuff here. I got a little song queued up, a little thing called Taking. I can't fucking read, man. Taking my time. And I was listening to the tune. It's got like a really serious, almost like a pop influence to it. Reason for that, or?
Make money.
Make money. It's commercially viable.
Yeah, I guess that song probably isn't the best representation of the rest of our songs, but at the time that we wrote that, I was listening to a lot of the Wild Hearts.
Okay.
Have you heard of that band?
Yes.
Yeah, I was listening to a lot of the Wild Hearts, and I really like the way that they can kind of combine the kind of rock guitar with kind of pop melodies. And I suppose it was quite influenced by that at the time we wrote it.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to go ahead and play it for the people. You're listening to the Harry George and the Usual Suspect Show right here on Best Biker Radio with our very special guests all the way from Scotland, the Deadbeat Ragdolls. And we're going to talk about that name later, too, boys. In the meantime, here's a little something by them called Taking My Time. We'll be right back.
Every step it takes
Hey, you're welcome back to the Harry George and the Usual Suspect show right here on bestbikerradio.com. Just got done playing a little thing called Taking My Time by the Deadbeat Ragdolls, who are our very special guests. Gentlemen, welcome back. I like this guy. He's got a whole fucking quart bottle in his hands, you know?
Has to be done, man. Rock and roll's a hard life.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So they drink more straight up. I'm from Glasgow, so I'm the posher, coke drinking one.
You got glass, and the rest of them are drinking out of jugs, right? Hey, look, you look at it. Hey, you look at it this way, man. Look how long Keith Richards has made it. I mean, seriously. You know, that man's had more friends.
Pharmacy in the back.
Well, you know, Keith, man, he's had more blood transfusions than my Volvo's had oil changes. So, I mean, honest to God. So tell me,
I'm sure he's a vampire. I'm sure he takes virgins in the night.
Oh my God! So tell me, okay, go ahead.
Seen Ronnie Woods. He had a Polish, like some lassie looking after his kids or something like that, and our secretary, he was finding her 22 she was, and he's hitting about 70. Oh, brilliant.
I saw a television interview with Ron here about 3 or 4 months ago, and I'm looking at him going, you know, Ron, man, honest to God, you either got to lay off the pancake makeup or just let people really know how old you fucking are, man. Honestly. You know, it's like, and then there's, you know, you got to think about that. You know, that some of the people that are still around, like, you know, Tyler from Aerosmith, he looks more like my aunt now than he does like a guy.
He looks like a lady, man.
Yeah, there we go. Now there's a prophetic recording, no doubt. So anyway.
If you're listening, dudes, we love you.
So tell me, like, who's the, and every band has one, as you well know. Who's the sort of like, I'm writing the stuff and you guys are mixing it, or are you all into doing that, or again? It's him.
It's basically songs.
So, when you're doing it, once you get your basic tune down, I mean, you share it out, and the boys add their bits of flavor to it to make it a whole band thing, or it's dictatorial?
It's basically, he's got like a baby, he writes his baby out, and he brings it to the band, and we're kind of like the babysitters, but we kind of molest the song, so we try more balls. Exactly. So you molest my baby. I molest your babies all the time.
I see. So you're a bunch of molesters, is that what you're telling me?
That's his comment. All is over.
They must have a better legal system over there than here, man. I'm telling you, honest to God. You guys are...
Usually, like, I'll bring in an idea. Sometimes it's kind of half finished, and then we'll kind of work on it together and kind of finish it together. Sometimes, like, I'll have a set idea what I'm going to do, so I'll bring in, like, a finished song, and then we'll maybe change around, like, a couple of little bits, but it'll more or less kind of stay the same. It just depends. I mean, we'll kind of... I had a lot of songs already written when we started the band, so like a lot of the set's made up of those songs just now, but I mean, we've kind of started bringing in some other songs, like Andy's brought in a song, Alan's brought in a couple of song ideas that we're working on, and Tony, like, wrote me and Tony have kind of written like a few songs together, so it's kind of...
Andy and Tony are the kind of glam rock connoisseurs, and Al's quite in his rock as well. I'm in my rock, but I'm kind of eclectic with kind of crazy stuff like my Bowies and all that kind of stuff. So I came from like an indie rock, alt rock background with various bands. So basically, I kind of bring that weird influence into the songs. So it kind of like. It sounds kind of like glam rock, but we've got kind of slant on it at times, but we'll put bits in, all works out, so it sounds good so far. We're not the second biggest biker radio, so we have to be doing something good.
Something must be working right for you, right? Well, you know, and as I was, you know, I got the songs that you guys had sent, and like this next one that we're about to bring up, you know, it tends to be, you know, this one, it's called Taking My Time, or not that was the first one. It's called Better Off Dead, and it's kind of like almost an early Van Halen type flavor to it, with a little bit more of a classic guitar rock styling. So you kind of see a little bit of a, you started out with this one here, and you could feel it like you guys are starting to move forward and get a little more cohesive, at least in my opinion. But, that's like, so, I mean, is that kind of how is it, because, do you see yourselves like developing and getting a little bit more into that type of thing?
Definitely. We're definitely, like, going more for a harder sound, more kind of like LA Guns kind of idea, because that's me and Andy's biggest influence is like LA Guns and Hannah Rock basically. So and I like to hit the drums very hard. So
yeah, I can understand that. So
I'd say some of the earlier songs that we kind of brought to the band have a slightly kind of poppier feel to them, just because. A few of those songs I actually wrote for my old band, because my old band had like quite a similar sound to the Wild Hearts.
Right.
So I kind of wrote them specifically for that band, and then I suppose just when we started this band, we didn't have that many songs to work with, so we just kind of brought them in. And people seem to quite like a few of those songs, so they just stayed around. But I'd say the songs that we've been writing over the past couple of months have more of probably have a kind of harder edge to it. Like they're probably more like LA Guns, like early Guns N' Roses. Like early Motley Crue, like that, more of that kind of sound to them, rather than like
I just have
power pop,
I just had an opportunity now. Kelly, my partner in crime over here and the head of the Usual Suspects, she's a big time 80s band person, okay? Faster Pussycat, LA Guns, all guns and all that type of things. I spent most of the 80s in a drug induced coma, let me tell you. Because it's like it's like, okay, look, man, if it ain't Anthrax, I ain't listening to it, but I've started to develop an appreciation for the type of styling that sound and class of music has to deal with. And I think this next tune we're getting ready to do it here in just a minute, called Better Off Dead. And I want people to hear this, man, because you can hear you guys transforming up. You could feel the movement upwards. So anyway, might as well go ahead and get that done. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the bestbikerradio.com. You're listening to the Harry George and Usual Suspects show. We're talking to our good friends from Scotland, band by the name of Deadbeat. I love that name. I love it. Deadbeat Ragdolls. I gotta find out why you chose that. Anyway, here's Better Off Dead, man. Enjoy.
Every day's a new level now.
Yes, sir. This is BestBikerRadio.com. I am Harry George from the Harry George and the Usual Suspect Show. You're not lost. This is not outer space. It ain't the Twilight Zone. But we are talking to the Deadbeat Ragdolls in Scotland. I love that, man. I get to use my one piece of really bad imitation. You know?
Go for it.
So I gotta know because we were talking about it. Deadbeat Ragdolls, like where did that come from? I like the name. It's killer.
Johnny's sugar habit. Basically, it was our old guitarist. They put out the name the Deadbeats. But we decided that was a bit close to the Dead Boys, like Step Beatles and stuff like that. So Andy here used to be in a band called the Ragdolls, so we just took out the drag strip, put in Deadbeat, and that was it. And the reason that Mick wanted to call us the Deadbeats is because we were all unemployed at the time. So.
It's funny you mentioned Steve because like he grew up about a block and a half from my house. I used to see him all. I remember. I actually went to the very first gig that Steve Bader ever sang professionally. He was doing Alice Cooper cover tunes at a Girard High School. I'm serious, man. You know, and so it's like that's a great choice. It's a little bit of homage to my. I mean, he was a good friend. I really loved him, man. So sad the way he died.
Also, as well, like we're kind of thinking, well, the Deadbeat bit's got a bit of a darker tone to it, and then like the Ragdolls is like I suppose like our kind of paying homage to like you know the New York Dolls and things like that, you know.
Right.
It comes straight up in Google. If you want to find us, Facebook, Twitter. If you use messages, we'll follow you back. Just put in Deadbeat Ragdolls in Google. We are there. No problem.
We're a Nation as well, and we'll get a couple of tracks on YouTube. If you search for us on YouTube, we're on there too.
Yeah, and of course, as all of our listeners know, man, all this information will also be posted on the Harry George and the Usual Suspects page. So if you didn't quite catch it, or if the boys' accent, which I don't think they have one, but you know,
the songs are available at the moment are actually just demos as well. We just recorded the demos like in this flat actually, this apartment. But we've got a 3-track EP coming out soon with like proper studio tracks, and that should hopefully be out by the end of the month. If not next month, we're going to the studio tomorrow to hopefully wrap up these tracks.
That's
so
great.
that's going to be available for free download when that's released.
And if you say Deadbeat Ragdolls in the middle 3 times, we just appear and play in your house.
Say 5 times then.
That's it. 5 times it will suck your dick. One of the
Wait a minute. Don't make promises.
How's it going? You can tell he's a Top Gun fan. Total homoerotic.
Right from the reflective shades on, right, man? Serious. I just like the fact that he's sitting there with the big square bottle of Yukon or whatever. It looks like Yukon Jack to me, but what do I know?
Jim Beam.
Jim Beam. Oh, Jim Beam's nice. Well, I look at it. You got to remember, man. Like I said, I'm from West Virginia. We drink sour mash. You know, I like that.
Do you know? Here's a fun fact for you. Do you know that sour mash was invented by a Scotsman?
Everything that's alcohol was invented by a Scotsman. What the hell are you talking about?
There's a little fucking history lesson for your listeners. Sour mash whiskey was invented by a Scottish immigrant in America called James Crowe, who basically he invented the sour mash process. So the very first sour mash whiskey in America was Old Crow, and it was a Scottish doctor called James Crowe that invented it.
Yeah, that's you know what? That's great, but I'm still going to drink Uncle Jack's stuff because I know him. You know what I mean? Here's a piece of trivia for you. Lynchburg, Tennessee, where they make Jack Daniel's whiskey sour mash, is a dry county. You can't buy the alcohol there.
Hey, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's fucking awesome. Not for them.
Not for them.
Idiots.
You could, to be honest, mate, the fact of like 28 Days Later or like one of these zombie movies with all the alcoholics outside like, Jack, so I understand why they had to put that law in.
I bet you keep him at the back of the group on a pretty regular basis, right?
Well, actually, well,
you got him hit out in the corner. Anyway, what we're going to do here now, like I said, I was listening, and as I said, you could feel the group growing musically with the stuff that you play here. We're going to do a little song right now, and then we'll come back to close out everything. This one's called Thrill of the Chase, and I got to tell you what, this one's got a much edgier vocal to it, a lot more. You can feel the punk glam stylings that you talk about in this song more, and I really think our listeners are going to like this. Hey, you're listening to the Harry George and the Usual Suspects show. We're right here on bestbikerradio.com. We're talking to our really good friends from over in Scotland, a little band called, hey, look, I got that one out right for a change. The Deadbeat Ragdolls. Here you go, man. Enjoy. I know you're going to.
This is Kelly.